In the before the fight, I picked Frank Martin as a live underdog. I thought he had the attributes with his speed. He got some power. He got some pop. He got some athleticism. He can move with his feet really well. So I thought he had the attributes to possibly upset Tank Davis. So I picked Frank Martin in an upset. But in the technical part of the fight went just how I thought it was going to go. I told everybody that Frank Martin was going to fight behind his jab. He's going to let Tank Davis come to him. I knew Tank Davis was going to put pressure on him. What happened in this fight was exactly how I thought it was going to happen before the fight took place. Frank Martin let the mental pressure that Tank Davis was putting on him get to him. The mental pressure broke Frank Martin down before he even got hit by the punch that he got caught on the ropes with, which Frank Martin made. That's the fatal mistake that he made. Boxing mistake is getting caught on the ropes with a power puncher. You cannot get caught on the ropes with a power puncher. And Derrick James kept telling him to keep his back off the ropes. Now, Frank Martin, in my book, in the first 6 rounds, I gave Frank Martin 5 rounds to 1. Now, you probably could have argued the third round could have went either way. It could have been 4-2. But in my opinion, it was 5-1. By the official judges' scorecards, they gave Frank Martin, I believe, the first 3 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. It was 60. The score was 66-67 at the time of the stoppage. So Frank Martin was doing very well in the fight. A really good fight, a really good game plan from Frank Martin. And that's another thing I talked about in before this fight happened. Can Frank Martin make an adjustment to Tank Davis? Because Tank Davis started to catch up with him after, I'm going to say, around 4. He started getting closer, started landing more shots. Still wasn't landing enough to win the round, but he was landing some hard shots. He landed a hard shot to the body a couple times, a couple body shots. One that was really hard that Frank Martin admitted that hurt him when he came back to the corner. And I seen that Frank Martin started to succumb to the mental pressure. In boxing, it is a thing called mental pressure. When you know a guy can punch and the guy is constantly in your face, if you let it get to you mentally, it will break you down. It will wear you out. It will take away your strength, your energy, your endurance. It will take it away. It will sap it right out your body because of the nerves. Frank Martin started to get a little wide-eyed around about round 5. So I started seeing the tables turn. At that point, if I was Derrick James, he should have told Frank Martin to start moving forward. Start putting Tank Davis on his back foot. You cannot continuously let a power puncher constantly walk you down the whole fight. At some point, you have to stand your ground and you have to fight. You have to stand your ground. Throw some punches, throw some hard punches, land some hard punches, stay defensive, sound-minded, and then get out of there. Not to stay in there toe-to-toe. I'm saying you got to stand your ground because you got to get some respect from the puncher. If you don't get no respect from the puncher, then he gonna come all night. And then it's a thing called carrying the fight. Tank Davis carried Frank Martin fast. He made Frank Martin fight faster than what he wanted to fight. He made him move excessively more than he wanted to move. You can hear Frank Martin in the post fight. He said it. He said, I was moving too much and I was trying to slow down some so I can have energy in my legs on the back half of the fight. Because you could just see that he was carrying him too fast. He was allowing Tank Davis to carry him too fast. What he should have did it's two things you can do when you get your back on the rope. You can immediately pivot or you can clinch and have the referee break you up. And this is another thing that Frank Martin shouldn't have done, that he should have did, that he didn't do in the fight, that he now will look at the tape and he will correct that next time. Next time he fight a guy that can punch. When the referee break you up, go behind the referee, get back to the center of the ring. So now the fight starts in the center of the ring. Now you got all that real estate to work with. He wasn't doing that. Wherever the referee was breaking him up at, Frank Martin would stay in that spot. You are taught to get back to the center of the ring when the referee break you up from getting off the ropes. That's your whole thing about getting off the ropes, is have the referee step in, break y'all apart, so you can then go behind the referee and get back to the center of the ring. That's something that Frank Martin can take from this fight. That's another thing he can take from this fight. But yeah, I thought it went technically how I thought it was going to go. I expected Frank Martin to see the final bell because I expected Frank Martin to do what he did in the first 5 rounds. In the second half of the fight, Frank Martin needed to mix it up a little bit with movement and standing his ground. He stood his ground a little bit, but he never really got Tank Davis respect. Like, you don't have to knock the guy down, but you do have to land some Hartford shots. You do have to sit on your shots. And the best way for him to sit on his shots was in the center of the ring. Now, people are saying, Tank Davis can't be beat and all this stuff. To me, I know a lot of people would not agree with me because, especially if you love Tank Davis, you're not going to agree with me. Tank Davis looked old. He looked old. He looked like a person that was not willing to work for his food. He was willing to take punches. He came up. He came in a high guard. I didn't hear people tell me if you got the high guard coming forward, you're just a punching bag. And Tank Davis essentially was a punching bag. And the people say, well, he got a chin. Okay, in boxing you have a chin until you don't have a chin. You can't keep on taking punches in boxing. These are human beings. It wears on you. These guys spar and then they fight. So Tank Davis has taken a lot of punches over his career. Eventually, his chin is not going to be granite as y'all say his chin is granite. Eventually, it's not going to be granite. You can't just take punches. What Tank Davis did yesterday was fight an old man's fight to me. He just put his hands up in the guard, in the high guard. He walked forward. He took a lot of punches. Look at the side of his face. Was cherry and swollen. Even he was complaining about it because he did not want to work technically for the knockout. He was just bowling his way in and got the knockout. Now, he ended up getting the knockout. If Frank Martin would have did a couple things technically right, this fight goes to the cards, and then now we have a possible controversy. If Frank Martin pivots off the ropes and Frank Martin goes forward and hold his ground in the center of the ring against Tank Davis here and there in the second half of the fight, this fight going to the scorecards. But Tank Davis, hey, you got to give Tank Davis his credit, right? He was able to walk Frank Martin down. He made Frank Martin succumb to the mental pressure. He broke Frank Martin mentally. That's what he did. Tank Davis broke Frank Martin mentally. He ended up breaking him mentally. And that's kudos to Tank Davis. He got his opponent to break mentally. And he stopped him in a spectacular fashion. So you got to give Tank Davis all the credit in the world. But what I seen yesterday, I already got in my mind how the Shakur Stevenson fight going to go with Tank Davis. To me, that gave me confirmation on how Shakur Stevenson is going to beat Tank Davis. And in my book, Shakur Stevenson can make it look fairly easy. Because one thing I know about Shakur Stevenson is he's technically better defensively than Frank Martin. He's a better two-fisted fighter than Frank Martin. He doesn't have power like Tank, but he has counter-punching ability that can catch you in between shots or catch you with a shot that you don't see that can put you down. There are things called a flash knockdown in boxing. Those are punches that you don't see. It's usually the punch that you don't see that knocks you down. Frank Martin said, I didn't see the uppercut coming. Uppercut is the hardest punch to defend in boxing. It's the uppercut. The most hardest punch to see and to defend. That's why it's the hardest punch to defend. Is a person that got a really good uppercut, it's hard to defend that punch. And Frank Martin made it more easier for Tank Davis by getting himself caught on the ropes. So, like I said, Tank Davis looked kind of old to me yesterday. And what y'all got to understand about these lower weight classes, anything from 118 to about 135, 140, those guys age fast. Those guys have an early prime and they start aging fast. Tank Davis is about to be 30 years old. Tank Davis is not young. Tank Davis is about to be 30 years old. So when is he gonna fight Shakur? Now they say that he in talks with Lomachenko. Okay. He fight Lomachenko. I don't know how that fight. I don't know how that fight is gonna go. Most people won't pick Tank Davis by knockout because they're not gonna really do the breakdown in their mind on how it can possibly go. They're gonna say the lazy thing, oh, he gonna knock him out. Okay, that's fine. Because Tank Davis got a 93% knockout ratio. To me, you got to understand you're not gonna knock out everyone. Everyone is not gonna get knocked out. Some people are gonna go in there and neutralize your power. And I believe Shakur Stevenson is gonna neutralize Tank power. I don't know. Someone else probably can do it. I don't know. Lomachenko might can do it. Devin might can do it. But it's people going around saying, "Well, I don't want to see him fight Shakur or Devin because he gonna beat them. Y'all know he gonna knock them out." No, that's what you think. That's your opinion. I want to see the fight. In that case, we could just start doing fights in our heads and say, "Okay, we don't need to see that fight because he gonna beat that guy. He gonna beat that guy easy. I don't want to see that fight." Well, that's not how boxing works. That's not how sports work. It's a thing called playing the game or getting in there and competing. These guys get in there and compete. I want to see Tank Davis. I still want to see him fight. I still want to see Tank Davis fight Shakur, and I want to see Tank Davis fight Devin Haney. I still want to see that fight. Why wouldn't you want to see him fight Devin Haney still? Because you think Devin Haney has no chance because he got knocked out by Ryan? But that's not how it goes. That's not how sports goes. Just because one guy beats one guy, that doesn't mean the other guy isn't going to beat that guy. You know what I'm saying? It's fighters like Muhammad Ali, right? Ali lost to Frazier. Frazier lost to George Foreman, but Ali knocked out George Foreman. So styles make fights. We don't know how it's gonna go until these people actually get in there and fight. I want to see that fight. But yeah, kudos to Gervonta Tank Davis. He did his thing. That was a really good win because Frank Martin is a top 10. He's a top 10 lightweight. For sure. He's a top 10 lightweight for sure. But I want to see Tank Davis fight the top 5 lightweights. I want to see him to fight the Shakurs, the Devins, the Lomas. Frank Martin might be top 5. So Frank Martin could be arguably be top 5. So yeah, he did fight the top 5. Now let's go above the top 5. Let's go to the top 3. He said he got a 6-fight deal. He says Loma is on there. He said Shakur is on there. Devin's on there. I think he said T.O. was on there. He even jokingly, I don't know if he jokingly, but he did say that Floyd Mayweather was on there. I don't know if y'all caught that or not. But that man actually said Floyd Mayweather was on his 6-fight deal. I don't know. Maybe he was joking. Maybe it was a passing joke. But yeah, let me know what y'all think, man. I just think Tank only meaningful win was years ago against. I don't know. People keep on saying something about Jose Pajaj. I don't. He's a decent fighter. If that's his best win, is Jose. That's his best win. Then something wrong because that dude is okay. I mean, he's okay. Tank Davis was supposed to be him. He was more talented than the dude. He was a better fighter than the guy. The guy just happened to be be a good fighter and have a title belt. Good fighter. But it's not like Jose was wrecking shop. What Tank Davis should have did was fight Lomachenko back in the day when Lomachenko wanted to fight him. But oh no, he's too young. How in the hell he's too young? He got a title. At that time, he had a title. Don't give a fighter a title and then treat him like a baby. Do y'all understand how old Wilfred Benitez was when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard? I believe Wilfred Benitez was like 22, 23. Thomas Hearns was like 22 when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard. De La Hoya and Trinidad was 26 when they fought each other. Guys that are at that level, you don't have to. If they really at that level, you don't have to baby them. You don't have to baby guys if you really feel that they're at that level, you don't have to baby them. But man, I'm about to go, man. Thanks for coming in, Dave Stern. Is that your name? He says he needs to fight Shakur. Yeah, he needs to fight Shakur and Haney. I want to see that fight. But there's people that saying they don't need to see the fight because Tank Davis is going to walk through them and all that. Okay, man. Okay, if you don't think nobody can beat Tank Davis between 135 and 140. Okay, go to 147 then. Fight Boots. If y'all really think nobody can beat him at 135, 140, and they don't have to he don't have to get in the ring with him, well, go up to 147 and fight Boots then. You said Terrence Crawford had a glass shield and said, oh, on Clubhouse, where you thought nobody was going to listen, you said that you would knock out Terrence Crawford in 6 rounds. Soon as Terrence Crawford get wind of it, you say, oh, no, I was just playing. See, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying, man. Tank Davis is just a bully. He's a bully, and he bully guys who he think he can bully. I bet you when him and Shakur Stevenson sign a fight to fight, I bet you he won't be putting his hands in Shakur Stevenson's face. I bet you he won't be doing all that stuff he was doing with Frank Martin. I guarantee you. He would not do all that stuff he was doing with Frank Martin. He's not going to pull up. He's not going to pull on his jacket. He's not going to put his hands on his watch and all this. No, he's not going to do that because he knows who he can get away with that with, man. But like I said, man, look, I'm out, man. Peace.